We will use every tool at our disposal. After this is done, they'll remember us forever.
And they're gonna make me cry with these augmented creatures. They're gonna make me cry, I can tell you already. I'm gonna cry, because they're doing, like, they're augmenting the wildlife there. They're like, oh, leyline-infused raptors, not mean enough. We're gonna put tech on them. They showed some art of, on their social media of tech raptors, yes. They showed art on their socials of the different, like, styles. Like, these ones look like they have little guns on, like, their arms. There was one with, like, a gun on its head, like, and like, it's like their eyes are covered, like, and so it looks very much like, you know, this wildlife did not opt into this, right? They're like, they, like, captured these creatures and are, like, augmenting them with technology in order to fight for them. And that's really sad. So, like, I have a feeling I don't want them to tug at my heartstrings by using imprisoned animals, experimentation on animals, but if they do, I'm going to cry. So that's a legendary Pokemon. So I'm very excited to see what heartstrings they can pull with this. I think they should. If they're going this route, I think they should. They're better protected now, but are they happy? I don't think they're happy. If we don't get a shark skimmer, I'm riding, we should get a shark skimmer. Definitely. Definitely. I mean, we have a giant bumblebee now. I saw that there was a map fly-through. They actually have a fly-through of the first map. I'm actually not going to watch it. I don't want to see it. I want to be surprised at every little nook and cranny of Castora that I come across. But yes, there is a fly-through video. Vaporware Guild Wars 2. Land sharks. Land sharks. So much to do, Calcius. Yes. Yes. There was an article that said that the story, no story spoilers whatsoever it had, but it said that the pacing is much more action oriented for the story instances versus, like, Janthier Wilds was a very laid back pacing, a lot of, like, talking, listening to NPCs talk, which to me is fine, but the bears did put me to sleep a little bit. But that was their culture, right? They're chill, they're in nature, right? But I did read one article that said that Visions of Eternity is much faster paced. It's much more like you're in the action rather than standing around listening to NPCs talk. So, Lola Bears! Exactly. So, that made me even more excited. So I hope that they've learned a lot from the feedback that people gave about the story of the last two mini expansions. And you know, my biggest thing, they talked so slow. They did. Oh my god, especially Stoic Alder. Holy crap. I understand it was his character, but, like, he talked a lot and it was just like, oh my god, he talks so slow. And my biggest thing, wow, sorry, hold on, the sun has really got intense. My biggest thing about the story was that Soto and Janthier Wilds was a very tell not show way of storytelling. So instead of getting you personally, emotionally invested in what's going on by having you be there for these things happening in the story, they just told you. They're like, oh, by the way, this happened, this big thing, instead of actually showing you or having you be a part of it. And I understand they can't have you be a part of everything. Everything can't be a story instance. But there just seemed to be so much. And there seemed to be a lot that they in my opinion, that they were trying to, I felt like they were trying to make me feel something for characters and give me these emotional moments when they only ever just told me about something. Like, oh, by the way, Zoja, really cares about Maban because he saved her and he's her mentor. And then there was this big, upset when Maban died, rightfully so. He was very important to all of them, but I felt like I didn't have enough time to be shown how important Maban was to all of the wizards. I was only told how important he was. And so then when he died and we got this big sad cutscene with Zoja, I felt like I was expected to be very emotionally invested in Maban dying when I was like, I barely know him. Like, I'm sad that Zoja's sad and lost her mentor, but like, I didn't know him. I didn't have any emotional investment in him. You only ever told me how important he was to Zoja when she could have been like constantly talking about him or telling us stories about how see if she had told us the stories about Maban and how important he was to her, um and like we got to see through her and our interactions with Zoja how important he was. If she would have shown us something in the map and said, like, this is the place that I almost died and Maban came and rescued me. He jumped in front of me to save me from this thing. You can still see the burn mark on the rock over here. Then it would have been more real, right? It would be like, oh wow, okay, like she's personally telling us how important he is to her. But it was always just kind of in passing, like how, like to my recollection, how and like we had to like go deep diving into hidden lore books and reading journals to see the things that he did for her, because he did do a lot of stuff where he went and took Scruffy out of the jungle and brought Scruffy, or not Scruffy, Zoja's golem, Mr. Sparkles, brought Mr. Sparkles back to her, but that was only like in a hidden journal in a 6 paragraphs of text. That wasn't like Zoja showing us the pieces of Mr. Sparkles and saying like, Maban went to the jungle and brought, if she would have been there and said he went to the jungle and he did this and look at, he looked and looked for weeks, but he was never able to find this one piece that I would need to truly rebuild Mr. Sparkles. Like, give us that emotional connection firsthand from the character. And if we had like been constantly, if Zoja had been constantly like kind of fangirling almost over Maban and how important he was to her, and then he died, and we'd be like, oh, we saw over and over how important Maban was to Zoja, right? And then I think it would have hit more. But like, I barely even knew who he was, and barely even knew that he was Zoja's mentor, and then he died, and I felt like I was expected to have those emotions as if she would have been toiling, squeeing about him the whole time. So it was just like little things like that. Like, they kept just telling us things instead of having us experience them. So if VOE is better, I'm very excited. I'm very excited, and the few reviews that I've seen so far have been very positive. So I'm looking forward to it.